folks. You know, YouTube always cuts off my good morning. So maybe I should wait a little bit before I tell everybody good morning, huh? Because nobody, the weird thing about live streams is nobody gets the first things that I say, because you've got to realize that it's live before you connect up. So it's only in the recorded video that it actually matters. Hey, Neil K. Unless, of course, you're Neil K. and you get on the stream, Neil K. and Camel, and you get on the stream 2 seconds after it opens up. I love you guys. Hey, DJ Quad. And nobody gets the first things that I say, except for Neil K, Camel Spit, DJ Quad, Neil 9000. Welcome, everybody. Twitch actually started playing right away this time. You know what? I think Twitch does a lot better job with that. I really do. Well, I'm glad Twitch is live. Let's make sure that YouTube is here. I kind of doubt YouTube is. You know what? I think Twitch does a lot. No, that always happens to me. I wish YouTube would just pause that. Apparently we are live though, so that's good. I love you too, Camel. Hey, Omen, EA, Andre, Mondane, good to see you too. Hey, Alex, Godsend, Charco. You have an add-on that tries not to autoplay YouTube. That's cool. I like that. Let's do this, says Jim. I like that too. That's awesome. Evening. Hey, Pierluck, Grilla, Charco, Ali. Awesome. Good to see you guys. So ultimately, oh, it is morning for you. I'm so confused, EA. Yeah, good day to everybody. Today, what I'm hoping to do. Yesterday, I've been working on documentation, and I did add another plugin type, although I didn't put out a beta yesterday. All between Monday and yesterday, I've been working on documentation. I got another plugin type for the system menu, so nothing that extensive or amazing, but it is something that will help. But what I need to do today is basically fill in all the holes and get on the forums and read everybody's messages to me and figure out exactly what we need to build hooks for. So that's what I'm going to be focusing on today. Neil. Got a panorama cube background working. That's awesome. Very cool. Yeah, Campbell. You provide lots of good ways for me to test, and you find all the bugs. Clearly. Hola, Diego. Someone made a Bible plugin already. Really? That is awesome. That is so cool. I gotta look at that. All right. I have got to get the plugin section going on the forums. Super Furry, awesome. Yeah, he's texting me here, or he PM'd me. I'm trying to read his PMs. Play all your Flash games in LaunchBox, he sent me. Oh, he's working hard. He's got like more than one plugin out, I think. Yeah, LaunchBox Big Box might not be the best interface for a real Bible study. Well, no kidding. Yeah. That's funny. Hey, Albert, have I ever heard of the Bliss Box? I have heard of the Bliss Box. And do I plan to integrate with LaunchBox? I hope so. Eventually. You know, it hasn't been that popular of a request. I have gotten the actual makers of the BlissBox actually reached out to me at one point, and I was a little bit thrown back by the fact that it didn't that it required an API. I don't understand why it would require an API, but I guess I do need to get back into that. The thing is with it, what's weird about it is why don't they just make it work like a regular controller? You know what I mean? Why does it need an API? That's what I don't understand. Based on HID, I gotta look up what HID really even means. Human interface device, right? But what does that mean? Hump day. Yeah, I don't know. One thing I have heard about the BlissBox is it does some weird stuff with how it does some weird stuff with how the input works, and I'm not even sure if I'm right because I haven't tested it. But I heard somewhere that the up and down and left and right binds to buttons instead of the actual up and down and left and right, which seems insane. Collector. Thank you, Kevin. That is awesome. Nice. Andre, you are king, man. That is killer. Seriously, I could use that is so helpful. Tutorial code. He's writing some tutorials and he's creating a GitHub project and some examples. That's it's like, oh yes, that is so perfect. Thank you. Yeah, mine is just getting started. That's right. Plugin test. Jim. Yeah, there you go. You haven't had that issue. Okay, good. Well, maybe I don't know why somebody mentioned that on the forums that was an issue with the BlissBox, but I don't. They must have not known what was going on with it. New job. Nice, Charco. Congratulations on that. That's really cool. Absolutely, Albert. What does my question for you, Albert, is what does the what do you need LaunchBox to do with the BlissBox that it won't already do? Screenshot bug. Explain to me that screenshot bug, Omen. Actually, it's probably on the forums, and I haven't caught up on the forums in a couple days, so forgive me for that. I'm sure I'll figure it out. But yes, I know that's what the video changes I made. Hey, Double O, Dave. Oh man, yeah. The support from you guys on these plugins are just amazing. I can't believe we waited so long, honestly. And I had no idea that this would be like the top voted feature, one of the top voted features on the poll either. So I'm like ecstatic right now about all this stuff. It's awesome. So thank you guys so much. Oh, your slip system, Andre. Okay, awesome. Big Box isn't showing screenshots in place of videos for games that don't have video previews. Sure, the weird thing about that is it is in some places, but apparently it isn't in others. And I think that's actually a well, yeah, it might be a. I'm not sure if it. I think it might be a theme specific feature actually. But anyways, let's pray, guys. Now let's get going with this stuff. Lord, thank you for this awesome community, and thank you for the opportunity to be here with everybody in this community and just do what I love doing. And I pray that you would just bless all our conversations and bless everybody here. Keep us all focused on love, focused on support. And I pray that we could make these streams something more than just development. I pray that we can make these streams effective in bettering everybody's lives on the stream. We can support each other, and we can share your love amongst all of us, Lord, because I feel that this morning. So be with us. In Jesus' name we pray. Amen. If you open Big Box as admin, it sticks in the logo. It's never recommended to open Big Box as admin. I know that was going around on the forums for a while. That's really weird that would lock it up. But first off, my recommendation would be don't ever open Big Box as admin. Is there a reason, Dark King, why you need to open Big Box as admin? Oh, got you, Albert. Okay. Hey, Jesus from Spain. Dude, I want to see that, Neil K. I forgot you were going to live stream. Yeah, I hope that's still up there somewhere. Hey, to play. Good to have you here, man. Or whoa, man. I got to be careful. Because some of you guys are guys, so that I assume way too often that everybody's a guy. And one of these days, I am really, really going to upset somebody. Well, thank you, Jim. I really appreciate that. Yeah, we don't do anything. The programs don't do anything that require admin. The only reason why some people have been tricked into thinking that admin is required is because what they'll do is they'll install it to program files or some other admin requiring folder on their hard drive, which of course in the setup we tell them not to do that, but people don't read setup programs, so it is what it is. But yeah, the only reason why you would ever need admin access for Big Box or LaunchBox that I know of anyways is if you installed it to the wrong folder that requires admin privileges. Now, because it's portable, it writes to the folder that you install it to. So, gender fluid. Camel spit. You don't strike me as gender fluid, my friend. Hey Goomba, can you connect the controller to LaunchBox? Yes. There is. I don't think the website says that there's no controller support for LaunchBox. Unless it's on the forums and somebody misspoke. There's definitely controller support for LaunchBox itself, yes. There are no women on the internet. Oh, yes, there are. As we found out on the stream, the last stream. You don't remember that spam? That probably wasn't an actual woman, though. Where's Jade this morning? Rocket Launcher needs admin for the overlay. Yeah, that would make sense, because Rocket Launcher does a lot of intertwined operating system stuff. Although, just so... That's a good thought. I would hope LaunchBox wouldn't need admin for that, though. But I don't know. has bugs if you open without admin. Something weird is going on there. That's strange. That doesn't make a whole lot of sense. Oh, no women on the internet is a phrase used to denote that everyone should be treated equally. See, that seems counterproductive to me. No women on the internet means everyone should be treated equally. I don't buy that. I don't buy that at all. That's a stupid way to put it. Come on. To me, I feel like we should be celebrating the differences between our sexes, not ignoring them completely. That's absurd. Although I get it because, you know, people definitely like to point them out way too much. Yeah, it's hard. The only thing to worry about is the he and she thing, exactly. There you go, Double O. I see. Strikes again, Grilla. Woohoo! What's he got for us here? Grilla Time, sure. More customizable version of the built-in time control. Grilla Power Status shows device power status. I should just pull this over. Shows device power status, battery charge status, and battery level. And controller status shows the connection state and battery level if wireless for up to 4x input controllers. Yay! Thank you, Grilla. Third-party apps and plugins. We already have a section for it. Look at that. Well, that's awesome. We'll want to tweak this, though. And he's the only one that's actually put up something into that category. But I don't know if it's smart for me to show everybody my inbox, my private message inbox. It probably can't hurt anything, though. But I want to go through and see what everybody's built and see what they need, because I want to, you know, make that easier for folks. He doesn't look like he's waiting for me on anything, though. Paul. This is Grilla. You're amazing, Grilla. Can't wait to check out your new stuff. And I should respond to Paul, too. We're on the live stream right now. So appreciated. I haven't checked it out yet, but I will be later today. Generic blank box art for games. A couple people have asked me to reach out to you regarding my blank box art as default. This isn't plugin stuff, but that's okay. Pyrometheus. I have seen this stuff. As default within LaunchBox Big Box was something I just threw together with myself and thought I'd share it with the community. It's not all high resolution or anything, just took the approach and idea of what I've seen on the Xbox 360 when box artwork is missing for a gamer app. Let me know if I can help in any way. Yeah, I did see this stuff, and it's awesome, actually. He's built a bunch of platform-themed blank box art so that we could use this instead of, you know, the default that we've had since the very beginning. And I love that, actually. We don't have an option for that right now, though. I need to program something to support that. So much appreciated. I did actually see that thread, but I hadn't responded yet. Love your work there. I definitely need to implement that, and when I do, we'll plan on using your images. All right, plugin API requests from Neil K. This will be good. We'll go through this and add this stuff. All right. Oh, he's got a forum topic here, it looks like. Okay. The ICE service plugin is one of the more important ones for the ability to run an optimized set of logic that can stop LaunchBox or BigBox from exiting until it has time to clean up. Okay. iMenu plugin, iGame menu item plugin, iService plugin, iPlatform plugin, iData import plugin. Navigate. Okay, I'm going to need some details there, Neil K, but I know you're on the stream, so we can go through some of that stuff here. Let me see. Oh, you've got this all detailed out in the forum post. Gotcha. Okay, well, obviously, we're going to be spending a lot of time on Neil K here and getting everything that he wants for these plugins. And honestly, I think he's going to be a great guy to make sure that we're pretty fleshed out. So there's nothing wrong with focusing on him on the stream, I don't think. But we do need to... obviously, we need to talk to everybody first. So I want to get that done first, and then we'll come back to Neil K. Dave, yes. I'm not sure if you're on the stream, Dave, but yeah, absolutely. I need to upload a demo project, and I'll probably be uploading that to the forums here. Okay, speech to text. He shared with me his hyperspeech.ini file that he put together for the Hyperspin speech text stuff. Hyperspeech. 30 intro videos, and it'll play a video at once at random. You can skip it by pressing a button. Sure, yes and no, and that's going to require a little bit. Ninja, I'm not sure if you're on the stream. You're probably not. That's going to require a little bit more involved of a response. So I'm not going to respond on the stream to that one, because it'll take me. I'll have to go into some details. But thank you guys. Thank you. I think we should go through Neil K stuff and figure out the best start for that, and we'll get into development. But let me catch up on some comments here, because I'm probably way behind. I gotta find that Bible plugin though. Good girl gamers. Yeah, I do know that we need some better documentation on how everything works settings-wise. Jim, that is a good point. Yeah, and it is tricky because some of those settings, I will admit, only affect the default theme. So it used to be worse. We did restructure them to make it a little bit easier. But yeah, it can be confusing. That is okay, Neil. Well, we're really just getting started. I mean, this has been out for a few days, and that's it. So, yeah, no huge rush. And the other thing is, this is still beta stuff. So until we come out with the official release, nothing is going to see mainstream use yet. I'm not sure if Gorilla wants me to hire him, EA, honestly. But at the same time, just read my messages. Those are the important ones. Oh, I don't know, Neil. You're so cocky. I don't know if I should feed your ego anymore. No, I'm just kidding. Yeah, yeah. I so know you were just joking. I know that, Neil. I know you're not like that, man. Can there be a plugin which shows the button definitions on each view that could help for new users when navigating the front end, as well as a constant reminder for everyone? The button oh yes, yes there could, absolutely there can, and basically it would have to be integrated into a custom theme, but yes, that is very, very feasible. Should be a section under platforms for missing media, art, box, carts, etc. Missing media, you mean in LaunchBox? Oh, yeah, again, I think this is theme specific, and I think I might have broken it only for certain themes. So again, I'll come back to the screenshot thing. You had screenshots there for every theme you use. Okay, don't worry, Omen. You're not going nuts. All right. I probably broke something in the beta. I did change the video stuff significantly. So, yeah, we'll get there. I'll get it fixed. Don't worry. Neil K is my last name backwards? Are you serious? Klein? That's hilarious. This whole time I've thought your name was Neil, dude. This whole time. That just destroys. That destroys everything I know about you. Way to add media like TVs and movies, yeah. And anime, and both a way to open programs from Big Box. Sure. That's awesome, Omen. Yeah, I'll fix it. Don't worry about it. Worst case scenario is it will require a minor tweak to the themes in order to fix it. And if that's the case, then I will try and get in touch with the theme developers and clue them into how to fix that issue. But because we did a little bit of restructuring, but I hope that's not the case. I hope I can just get it fixed, period, without having to change anything. You linked the Bible plugin further up the chat. Darn it, and I missed it. That figures. I'll have to... I'm sure I can look it up. I can search for it. 8 hours a day, a whole year, making sure your collection was perfect. Omen, why don't you zip up your collection and send it to me? No, I'm just kidding, but still, that's amazing. So you must have a bunch of media we don't have anywhere else. So, yeah, perhaps we should be getting some of that from you. Plugin test. Nice. All right, so this isn't the same Paul. P. Davis is different than Super Furry. Oh, this is cool. So cool. Yes. We should work together to figure out exactly what you need to make this ideal. I'm on the live stream right now, but I need to check, but I'll check it out later this afternoon. If you can tell me exactly what hooks you need. He says, I wanted to write and show up when you logged in. Okay. I'll get on that. I know you need something for when the user logs in, so I can certainly add that. Cool. What we should do is we should add like a an event handler, generic event handler or something like that. Maybe Neil K has covered that though, so let's go back to him here soon. Oh, dude, cartridge and disc art with transparency and and everything. Honestly, Omen, it is people like you that are obsessed with this stuff that make all this stuff amazing for everybody, because you go through and you do a bunch of work, you know, and look at me. I'm the reason why LaunchBox is what it is because I'm obsessed with making it. That's just, it's that passion and it's that love for what we do here that helps everybody have an amazing experience. So yeah, I hope that we can find a way for you to share all that stuff if you're willing. Missing media sounds like the audit function. That exactly. You can do all that stuff with the audit function. That was kind of the point, part of the point. Your name is John. Ah, oh, that blows my mind, Neil. That just blows my mind. John Neil Klein. That's awesome. I shall call you Calvin from now on. Instead of a PDF reader, we should put in a full-featured torrent client. Uh-oh. Pinball! You have put John Neil K1 Klein on things before when needed. It's hilarious. Big box free. Big box free. Oh, Camel. Ah, you're making me jealous, man. Would a video cleanup tool that works just like the image cleanup tool be possible as a plugin? Yes, already, because all those hooks and everything are already in place. Actually, to build that, you could do that pretty easily. Nothing you posted was added. What are you talking about, Camel? Tried uploading a few times in the past to DB, but it was a huge failure. Oh, I see. Nothing I posted was added. Did you just get rejected? Did your changes get rejected? Come to Arizona later this year. You can help me go through it. Do I get to keep stuff, Camel? I actually didn't put a generic event handler on my list, so don't forget about that. Okay. Bringing a 40-foot shipping container. Wow. This community is great. You guys are all great, and it's awesome. I love it. Thank you, Omen. Yeah. Well, I mean, like, you know, I'm not sure. Maybe Omen is uploading a bunch of images to the games database. But I gotta. One of the things that we want to do for the games database, since the games database was number one on the list, of course, one of the most important things to do is to provide a means for somebody like you to get us a particular type of artwork in batch, and then we could just batch upload it all without a bunch of effort. Because if we can prove that somebody's artwork is like top notch and everything in it is awesome, then what we can do is we can batch upload the stuff and just skip the whole moderation process and just vastly improve our database in one go, you know. Are we going to do any work today? I don't know. You guys just keep talking to me. Camel, that is awesome. Thank you, King. Dark King. Plugin that puts images on a timer and rotate them. Oh, interesting. That might be feasible. It might be tricky. When you delete a ROM whilst in the audit mode, the next ROM you try to delete appears to search for the last. That doesn't sound like the correct behavior. Yeah, that sounds like there's a glitch there, Jim, that I need to look into. Good to know. If you can make a forum post or a Bitbucket ticket on that bug, I'd appreciate it. That is good, Neil K. Yeah, Vlansix, guys, is back at it. He started, as you guys know, he's been on the forums. He started working on Sunday and got back into things. So we are going to see him making a lot of changes here soon. And I'm probably going to be developing, once we get this plugin system wrapped up a little bit, I'm going to be headed back to the database as well myself on top of his work. So we are really we're going to tag team it, and we are going to make some awesome changes there. So I'm looking forward to that. I really want, knowing that you guys want the games database to be like top priority because it was the #1 voted thing, I'm excited to get back to it and like make it as perfect as we can possibly make it. So, because it has been like the redheaded stepchild. We've been, ignoring it for far too long. I mean, I've been back to it off and on, but it just doesn't get the attention that it should. And now that's more obvious than ever because, obviously it was top voted, so. I'm still working on my Steam data dumping. Data quality from Steam varies so much, man. And when I remember looking at the Steam data folder and trying to get accurate information on what was installed, and I had, and that was actually built into early versions of LaunchBox, and it worked barely, but you got extra stuff, and there was missing stuff, and it didn't work, consistently and properly. I remember that being a royal pain in the butt. So that's why we took that piece out, and we used the proper Steam API instead. Man, I really appreciate you guys being here. You guys, man, you guys are gonna make me cry. I love you guys all so much. It's just been, it's so, the thing is, about all this, since I was 12, my dream has been to develop a piece of software for a large audience, for a group of people like you. And not only did I has God blessed me so much that I actually have that, but it's gaming related, and we do these live streams, and you guys are supporting everything we're doing. And not only are you supporting us, but you're contributing like incredibly with plugins and images and all kinds of media and themes. It blows my mind, guys, and I love it so much. I really do. I'm not just blowing smoke here. I mean, I get like, I'm just amazed. I'm just amazed how awesome this project has gotten, and the fact that I do it for a living it just, there is nothing better in my book. Yeah, one thing we've avoided so far, Slip System, on purpose, is scraping websites. That's not something we want to do ourselves. So if the community wants to put a scraper in there, they now can do that. But that we've not wanted to do that, because anytime a website changes, then you've got to redo it, and so it's a huge development nightmare and time sink, and gets in the way of so many other things. The addiction continues. That is a good idea, Camel. I probably won't be able to join you in Arizona, but that's kind of tempting, I will admit. But if anybody's close by, that's a great idea. And you can't go wrong with barbecue either. Randomized background videos, that would be awesome. And I think that would be possible, though you'd probably have to use some tricks right now until we add some neat stuff in there. Well, we would have to, we definitely need a hook for that. But if you replace files and move files around a little bit, you could probably pull it off. Roast a whole pig, that is awesome. You getting hungry? Yeah, me too. I haven't had breakfast or anything. This is City Hunter, second to last post. Random background videos. Dude, he did it. I gotta look into that. That's exciting. Video upload or faster download speed. Video upload. I'm not quite sure what you mean by that stuff. Oh, I see. You can ask Steam if a game is owned or installed, but knowing what... That's what I ran into too. Yeah. With the game artwork, can we get a hierarchy setting? We actually already have that, Mondane. That is in the image priority stuff, in the options in LaunchBox. So check that out. That's all already there. Full control over the image priorities and the hierarchies. eCanola has already put out a plugin for random background video playback for themes, and it's already in the City Hunter code and coming out this week. So your wish has come true, Jason. You guys are freaking amazing. That's awesome. Oh, that's so sweet. Thank you, Wade. Yeah, we got to get busy. NJ Dave is right. We've been screwing around for too long. We got to get busy here. I'm almost done with these comments. Man up! Plugins! Deadly Addictions, welcome. Or Addiction. Welcome, man. Welcome to Sweden. Hey, Stiflis. I have coffee, and I love it. This is... I was talking to one of my best friends the other day, And this is my while I'm live streaming it's like my security blanket. So when I grab my coffee, it's like time to calm down, calm my nerves a little bit. I don't know. You guys know I shake. And I'm not really nervous on the stream, but, you know, whatever. Nobody's completely calm in front of a bunch of people, you know? And then when my coffee runs out, my heart sinks just a little bit. Am I thinking of porting the app to Android? It's sort of, you know, I do want to port it to Android eventually, but it doesn't seem like the best business move, honestly, right now. We did put it on the poll not the last poll, but the poll before we put it on the poll, and it did not get very many votes. And because of that, I know that the entire community is not behind the idea and would not buy the app on Android. And for that reason, it's not going to happen soon. Good morning, Humanoid. New merchandise. Yes, we're working on that, actually. We are working on that right now. The Gus is saying now loading instead of looping videos. Of course, you could create a video for that, but yes. I need a big box mug so bad. I really do. And back when we were on Spreadshirt, I got to stop talking so we can get busy here, but back when we were on Spreadshirt, well, we still are on Spreadshirt, and so there's shirts and stuff available, but they kind of, Spreadshirt sucks. Honestly, I don't like dissing companies. I shouldn't do that. But if you get a mug from Spreadshirt, don't. Just don't get mugs from Spreadshirt, okay? Because I ordered a couple sample mugs from Spreadshirt, and they were the ugliest, horrible mugs I have ever seen in my life. And I got the expensive ones. They couldn't print it right, and it just looked awful. And I can't, I mean, granted, the LaunchBox logo is not that complicated, and they could not print it in any way that looks good. So it was really disappointing. Hey, Jay. Dave is really, really excited to get into the development stuff here, and I'm glad. But yes, I'm finally done with the comments here, guys. Although I love every one of your comments, so thank you so much. But let's get busy. Let's get going. We are going to dive into Neil K's suggestions here. So let's get reading on this and get working through it. An iMenu plugin. Plugin to put options at the top levels of LaunchBox or the root of BigBox. An enum can be used to set what menu it appears in. Sure. That's not a bad idea. And that would be a lot more flexible than what we've got right now. So that might be I'm sorry, guys. Give me just a second. There we go. Yeah. So Neil, on the iMenu plugin thing, yesterday I added this iSystem menu item plugin, but I'm thinking maybe you're right. Maybe we need to tweak this so that it's more flexible and it shows up in various spots. So yeah, I'm with you there. The other thing is, if we put it all together, the one problem is some of them rely on game selection and or other types of selections. Although that's probably only that. I mean, it's probably only that piece. That's probably the only complication. So in theory, we could combine them together. I guess is what I'm trying to say. That's a good idea, and I really should like combine. I got to be careful because anytime I change something that's already existing, even though it is the beta, I'm going to break people's plugins. So I've got to figure that out. I'm going to have to. I haven't released this yet, but I have released this. So what I can do is I can create a generic iMenuItem plugin that has all the same functionality as iGameMenuItem plugin and just still leave that in there. That's probably what I'll do. That makes sense. It's good to have that feedback though, because that helps to, helps me visualize it. Could use a few new features. Okay. A way to control if a menu item is visible or disabled in both Big Box and LaunchBox rather than the current behavior. Oh, sure. Method to place menu items under the menu items, under other menu items would be helpful. Okay. Sure. I get you. Yeah, the nested stuff would work relatively easily in LaunchBox, but in Big Box it wouldn't really, because I've got to build a whole new, menu setup, which based on how that stuff is working, that's going to be the trickiest thing there. So we might not get that in there soon, but that makes sense. Now this is interesting. iService plugin, and this is basically what you've said is the most important. This type of plugin would have very limited interfaces with LaunchBox and Big Box. The purpose of this plugin type is to be informed of program startup and shutdown, so singleton services may be constructed and destructed. Technically, we can construct these singletons on demand when needed and let them sit around, but we can't ensure they are cleaned up properly without knowing that LaunchBox and Big Box wishes to close. Okay. An interface explicitly for this purpose would allow for services to only be started if in the correct application. Big Box initialize and LaunchBox initialize. I'm totally with you there. And that would be easy to do. Really easy to do. And that makes a lot of sense. And the other neat thing about using interfaces here for any developers who are listening is that you can actually implement multiple interfaces at once, of course. And so for that reason, you can ultimately have something be the iService plugin as well as something like a menu item or menu plugin, so that things will tie together. Now is the time to make the changes and break plugins. Exactly. Very much so. And we will. The thing is when we add, anytime we add an item to an interface, add a property to an interface, of course the plugin is going to break. So one thing I need, maybe you have a good solution for this, Neil K. Right now, one of the issues we're running into is anytime I add a new property to an interface, any existing plugin is literally going to crash, not crash, but throw up an error in LaunchBox and Big Box. And my experience right now is it doesn't start up. So I need to do something to, if a plugin is invalid or crashes, I need to make sure that LaunchBox and Big Box just don't fail to start. You know what I mean? And don't completely crash and burn. Force cache images every beta. That's weird. That shouldn't be happening, Neil 9000. Yeah, we have a Discord, actually, Dark King. There's two of them. There's one for patrons, and there's one for everybody. We need to probably advertise that, though. That makes sense. I think there's links in all our videos to the Discord on YouTube. An undefined handler in C#. What do you mean by an undefined handler, Dave? Undefined handler. I'm sure that's just a terminology issue. I'm not following the terminology. But I'm thinking we should start with this iService plugin. That's the first thing we should do here. And I don't want to like just keep reading through and not doing anything, because I could read through all day and study it all day, but really we need to get busy. So let me start on the iService plugin, and we'll go from there. I don't know that I want to call it iService plugin. What I'd like, I think what kind of makes the most sense is, and tell me your thoughts, Neil. It kind of makes the most sense to tie the iService plugin in with an events type plugin, so that when any particular event fires, I mean, the basically system-wide events would all go in there, and that includes startup and shutdown for LaunchBox and Big Box, and you know all that stuff. Does that make sense? So maybe we should call it iEvents plugin, iSystem events. Same thing, sure. So iSystem events. Let's just call it that. iSystem events plugin. Okay, so we need to make this an interface. And not much here. We just need to say void on LaunchBox startup early, void on LaunchBox startup completed, maybe, void on LaunchBox I'm trying to think of the terminology for exit. Oh, when you add new properties to your library to avoid previous plugins from breaking. An undefined handler. I don't know how to do that. So if you know how to do that, Dave, help me out. Neil says, must be lovely to start work an hour into your shift. You know, the funny thing is, this like programming is not, it doesn't even feel like work to me. I don't know, I love doing it so much. And of course talking to you guys doesn't really feel like work either. So ever since I quit my my actual full-time job to do this, it's just been like, it's like I don't have to work at all, to be honest. Although I do have to do quite a bit of work that I don't like doing, like business type stuff. But the stuff that I don't like doing is it's all the business management and all that kind of garbage. So that is the stuff that I hate. But I love doing development, and I don't have any. When I get up in the morning, and this was not always the case. When I get up in the morning, I look forward to. I hate getting ready in the morning, okay? But when I get up in the morning, I look forward to getting to work and sitting down and having my coffee and and doing what I love doing. So it's just incredible. And that has not always been the case. I've always loved development, but it's not near as fun when you're working on other people's stuff and you're working on boring business projects and data access, databases, business data, crap that is just not very interesting. That's what I did for so many years. Toss. You're awful. The best job I could ever have. You've got it. You design homes for the Ninja Turtles. Oh, that's great. An API for work right now. Yep. And that is what I did for so long. APIs and data access and everything else. All right, so we are, what do we call this exit stuff? On LaunchBox Startup early, I want to say on LaunchBox Startup beginning. There we go. On LaunchBox exit beginning. On LaunchBox exit completed. Right? Oh, you weren't kidding. You design sewer systems, among other things. That's awesome. That is really cool. That's funny. You found like the perfect way to tell people that. That's awful. That must be a crappy job. No. Worst part is maintaining legacy interfaces. Yes. I was working on VB6 code up until like 2009, I think. I don't know. But yeah. Yuck. And the thing is, I've always worked on a lot of different projects all at once. I've never been like focused on a single project, which I love, by the way. But so I mean, it's not like my whole job has been stuck in an awful old language like VB6. But I've always, being a contractor, I've always had to work with old stuff. That is awesome, Keltoy. I will pretend to know exactly what you do based on that statement. I am a tier 1 for a large university working directly with cardiovascular and I don't even know how to pronounce it, man. But that's impressive. Whatever you're doing, it's impressive. We've been at it for an hour now. No, yeah, an hour. Foxy. That's exactly right, Quad. Best advice in the world. Find something you love doing and then figure out a way to get paid for it. And I'll take it a step further. Figure out what you love doing when you're 12 or younger and then learn it and obsess over it and get it down perfect so that when you're old enough, you're good enough, no matter what it is, you're good enough to do it for a living. That's the trick right there, and I feel so blessed that I just randomly came across that. Civil engineer, of course, that makes perfect sense. When you say that though, people don't think like, I mean, that's neat, it's impressive, but people don't think what that actually means. But it's neat that you've come up with a good way to explain that, Stifilus. That's awesome. Drug pricing APIs. There you go. That's a ton of fun, right? Full-time salary. Yeah, of course. I've actually been hourly a lot of my development time, but I've been salary quite a bit as well. You design toilets, really? That's interesting. Are you kidding, or are you being serious with this, D? You're not very professional. You probably don't have to be because you just got to design the stuff. Good toilets. You wish. You're not 12. It's never too late. Never too late. You know what bugs me about toilets? Okay, I'm going to go off on a rant here. Man, I'm getting distracted like crazy today. But what bugs me about toilets, and not just toilets, but anything that has a handle on it, like a door or a toilet, I wanna talk to the guy that ever made the decision that a handle should not have a backing on it. I'm not sure if you've ever tried to use a toilet that has a handle that has a sharp edge on the back of the handle, or use a door that has some sort of handle that has a sharp edge on the back of the handle, and they do it to save money, but that has got to be the stupidest decision I have ever seen in my life. Because I have a toilet in my house where every single time I go to flush the toilet, my hand hurts after I touch the handle because it's so sharp on the back side of the handle. Somebody's job, somebody did such a poor job on that, and then they actually used that in their product. It baffles my mind. It just boggles my mind. I can't understand why anybody would be that just silly stupid. It's crazy. Because somebody had to design that product. You are serious, T. That's awesome. I am sure you design toilets that work a lot better than the toilet I have in my house that has a handle on it that just hurts my hand every single time I touch it. This conversation went there real quick. Yes, it did. Yes, it did. That's exactly the thing that irks you too. Yeah, Wade, little tiny design decisions like that like affect the actual use of the product. It's just, I don't understand it. What a toilet that talks to you in Japanese. File that down. That's the thing. And I could, but I'd have to take it off. And I would need pretty rough sandpaper because it's just how it's made. And why couldn't they do that out the factory? But whatever. Toilet complaints. You're more into the water saving part. Sure. That is an important job because, man, I am so tired of having toilets that I end up having to flush 10 times because they tried to save water in them, and yet now it's not strong enough, and so my poop don't go down the toilet. Anyways, talking about being down the crapper, this conversation, there you go. There you go. You need a plug-in to round off the backs of toilet handles. I don't know. The toilet was here when I bought this house, so don't ask me. Bought this house. Yeah, I own about 2% of this house right now, but I am buying this house. I have a mortgage. I'm good at rants, aren't I, guys? Typewriter. Oh man, the funny thing is, I told you guys before, I sort of wish I was born earlier so that I could have been around during the introduction of computers. Is I feel like I would have been smarter if I would have seen like everything from the beginning, because I was so obsessed as a kid, like so obsessed with everything. But I might not even had a computer, if I was born earlier. Who knows? Hey, Mark. Yeah, I should just replace the handle. That's what I should do. 2 flushers on the lid. That is awesome. File it down. File it down. But it's a cheap, tiny little handle even if I do. So I'd rather just get a new handle. Network connected toilets. Are you serious? Network connected toilets. That's great. It can't be retro humanoid. That cannot be your job. And if it is, I'm gonna eat my shorts. That is insane. Low flow toilets below. Oh my goodness. Poop at work, get paid to poop. Yeah, I am still moving. We haven't figured out exactly where we're going to move yet, though, and we actually are delaying it a little bit. We're trying to save up for a down payment because honestly, the houses are a lot more expensive than what we were hoping to spend on a house. So I'm basically right now I'm spending a couple months to try and save up a little bit on a down payment before we can actually go and get our house. A Toto Drake 2. Huh. That's what I need to do. When I move, I'm gonna buy all Toto Drake 2s, Jason. Didn't land and boom boom. Oh my goodness. Network connected girls? Are you kidding me? That's horrible. Why? Even it's so technology in my house, like everything. But why a network connected grill? Come on now. Yeah, the debugging was dusting the glass. Yeah, that is insane. Fear me after Thai food. Thank you, Keltoy. Colorado's like that. Yeah, it's very, very expensive. It's stupid, ridiculously expensive. Flush the DNS. Arizona's pretty cheap. We did look into Arizona. We have thought about that. But we have family and friends out in Colorado, which is kind of why Colorado to me, I think it has to be Colorado, just because I so want to be with my friends and family in Colorado. You owe more on your new car than on either of your houses. I kind of wish I was in that situation right now, Camel. But of course, I got a 30-year loan just a couple years ago, so I've got a lot more to pay on my house. But when we sell it, of course, we actually have made money on this house, though, which is incredible. We bought it at the right time. Houses are cheap in Alabama. Yeah, they are. Texas, too. And wood is always in Texas, and the Game Chasers are in Texas, so that's been a big thing for me, and I've been really tempted, but I haven't been able to convince my wife to move to Texas. But I've decided on Colorado at this point, no question. I think I'm going to avoid clicking on toilet links. Oh man. Okay, I got to get back to work here, guys. I think this might be one of the most entertaining streams I have ever had. I'm not kidding. Because we've barely done anything, and it's an hour and 15 minutes into the stream. That is okay, though. I don't mind. All right, so we have on LaunchBox startup beginning, on LaunchBox startup completed, on LaunchBox exit beginning, on LaunchBox exit completed. Now we need all these for Big Box. Okay, so we got startup beginning, startup completed, exit beginning, exit completed. What else can we add? Any other event? And we'll probably have to come back to this later and add more, because I don't have any immediate ideas. Maybe you guys can come with some ideas as far as what we should add here. Somebody already suggested something. I'm trying to remember what that was. Let me just load it up, Oh, I still have that bug to fix. I haven't put out a beta because I still need to fix this bug on startup where it's this race condition stuff somehow or other. which I think is actually an issue in the latest beta. But I'm maybe people are experiencing it already. I'm not sure. I'd be surprised if I was the only one experiencing it. But that is why we have betas. Oh, I didn't want to start at big box. That's okay. Thank you, Amber. I love you too, honey. Amber, my wife just joined the stream, guys. She's Amber Carr. What is going on here? Do I have a breakpoint hit or something? Yep. We hit an error. This is the... Oh, I know exactly what's going on. We hit an error with the plugins because I didn't fix my plugin. I gotta get rid of it. And that's the kind of thing that happens here. I gotta kill this. Come on. Get out of here. Die. Please die. DLC. End. Go away. There we go. So if that's basically what happens, except you get a pop-up that says it errors out. If right now when it's loading the plugin, this is my code here to load up all the plugins, and it tries to load the plugin and it tries to load it up and it crashes here. So I've got to put in some error handling in there. Basically, the demo plugin that I built in the live stream on Monday is broken now because no, there's no plugin in there. Oh, it's in the theme, isn't it? So themes, live stream. I think we're still on the live stream theme demo. Plugins. So let's get rid of that for now. But I'm going to start up LaunchBox instead. There we go. Finally. Okay, and I was on star rating for testing. Let's go to platform category. Dave, when you add to your C# library, you need to make a new version. Yeah, we're going to have to do something, like, especially after the official release comes out, the plugins that everybody is using, I can't break them ever again. I don't want that to happen. So what we're going to have to do is make new versions of the interfaces if we change them. Either that or find a different way to do it. Awesome. Thank you, Wade. A generic function might be a good idea, but they can be messy. I know all about generic functions, or at least what I think is a generic function. You're talking about like action and function of string, whatever. And I love those. I use them quite often actually in the code here, but I don't necessarily understand how that works. First time you ever saw snow was at the Grand Canyon. That just seems weird to me. Interesting. The Grand Canyon snow. I took my dad, when I was younger, like shortly after I had gotten married, took us all on a river rafting through the Grand Canyon trip, and then we hiked up out of the Grand Canyon. That was one of the best experiences of my life, actually. It was really, really incredible. With this address, adding a menu item to the big box root like log off, sign out. Log off, sign out. Oh, with this address, adding a menu item to the big box root. No, the system plugin that the other menu item plugin will address that. This is basically for events. Generic event, string name, dynamic arts. Ah, yes. I like that idea, O'Neill. Because, yeah, and that's going to let us be able to change it easy. Good point. Really good point. I love that. Wind, it was pretty cold, sure. Yeah, I went when it was hot. The data is actually, I'm using all blocking collections and concurrent dictionaries, like for all the data everywhere. And so, in theory, we shouldn't have any major threading issues with accessing the data, Neil. And that's been important because we use the data across many different threads already in LaunchBox and BigBox, which I know makes for somewhat of a nightmare. But I've been pretty careful with that stuff to make sure that all the data is thread safe. Almost as often as you do, Camel. No air conditioning. Oh man, that would drive me nuts. You didn't mean generic in that way. I like your idea though, Neil. I really do. There's a type called dynamic in C#. Yeah, there is. And I have played with that in the past, but I'm not sure that's going to help us out here. I'd have to research it. Nice. That is pretty dope, Doss. Don't help if they can be null. Well, they can't be null. That's the thing. Because every constructor has initializers for them. So they literally can't be null. All right. So we were trying to define what else should go in that, and I'm kind of liking the concept of using a generic event, because then it's more flexible and I'm not going to break things. So and what I'm wondering is, well, if I were to create a class that has a list of properties that contain all of the events or all of the event names, then it's not going to break it. If I create an enum and I change the enum, that is most likely going to break. Maybe it would, maybe it wouldn't. I'm not sure. We'd have to test that. Neil K, here, I'm going to test your knowledge. If I create an enum with 3 items in it, and we build and somebody builds a plugin against it to use that enum, and then we add more items to the enum, is that going to break the plugin? That's a good question. Yeah, DOS, man, I know what you mean. The AC bills around here are awful too. Well, I mean, California is really, really bad. Really, really, really bad. Enums are fragile. Okay. Yeah, so, but anyways, we can come up with that later. So what we can do is we can add a void on event raised, string event name, string event type, no, and that's it. That's all we need. String event type. And then what we can do is we can create, well, I'm going to leave those there so I know what's there, but it's easy. It's just, there's just the 8 there. So if I create in data, we add a class called event type. and we make this a public static class event type. And then I add public static or constant string LaunchBox startup beginning equals LaunchBox startup beginning. So we add these, we document them so people know what's available, and then you can check to see if it equals every single one of these. It's certainly not as easy to use as an enum, but it prevents us from having issues when we add more events. So I do like that. Yeah, California. The funny thing about this area is housing is a whole lot cheaper than a lot of other places in Modesto. But we lived in Orange County when I first moved out to California because that's where my job was. And it's expensive in Orange County. It's ridiculous. But also, if honestly, if I was going to pick a location to live based solely on weather and atmosphere and just like being out there, like or you know, the earth, all that stuff, I would definitely pick Orange County. It's got to be the most beautiful place I've ever lived in my life, weather-wise and everything, because it's like literally 70 degrees all year round. It's perfect. It's unbelievable. But there's other issues with it. It's really expensive. It is a really nice area though, and the people are nice too. But it's just, yeah. So we've got to add the rest of these. We've got public constant string LaunchBox startup completed. Oops. And public constant string LaunchBox exit. I'm going to say shutdown beginning. And public constant string. I'm going to copy all this and just replace LaunchBox with Big Box. Save myself a little bit of time here. There we are. So we have our 8 events, and we were going to add one thing I thought about is locked. Big box locked changed. Big box locked changed. But the thing is, no, we need to say we can't provide a because of the generic way we're doing this, we can't provide a parameter. So we just need to say big box locked. Big box unlocked. All right. Take it easy, 00. That's smart, Neil. That's awesome. The weather, the view, the atmosphere. Come to South Africa. I believe it. I have never been to South Africa, but I believe it's really beautiful there. It actually won't too bad. What we can do is we can refer directly to this class from within the description for on event raised. Speaking of that, let's go ahead and do that. we're going to say, and then I need a summary here as well. And I like to look at my previous documentation to make sure it sort of matches. Implement this interface in order to implement this interface in order to handle system-wide events in LaunchBox and BigBox. And then if I look at a sample, it says called when, sure. Called when any particular system event occurs in LaunchBox or BigBox. And then what we can do for the event type parameter, what we can say is the type of event that has occurred maps up directly to a particular value in the particular constant value in the event type, which I need to using unbroken LaunchBox plugins.data. In the event type class. So basically that will be a link. So you'll be able to see when you look at the documentation that it's going to be one of the values in that class. So it shouldn't be too bad. EA, you live about an hour away from Orange County. Cool. Sure. That's nice. That's awesome. You might have the best of both worlds then, EA. Honestly, that's cool. Could use lock changes, make them use the function to check the state. Dynamic nullable parameter. Java action listener? Yeah, I remember that. I don't have any idea what 70 degrees is in Celsius. 21. Okay. Apparently you can do is checks on dynamic parameters. Sure. Of course. Yeah, and that makes a lot of sense, but it's certainly going to be a performance issue of some sort because it's all reflection at that point. But yeah, I don't know. I'd have to think about that. Hey, Moose. All right. So now we need to add in hooks to all these particular events. And if anybody can think of other events that we need to handle system-wide, I'm sure there's a lot of them. Like anytime, I don't know. I'm thinking like anytime the data is reloaded, but I'm not sure if that really matters. But let's get these implemented. Because obviously this is all useless until we make them actually work. And it's not going to be difficult to do that. So LaunchBox startup beginning, LaunchBox startup completed. The trick with this is we're going to have to, I don't know that I can actually do startup beginning because we have to wait until the plugins are loaded, obviously, before that can be fired. So we're going to have to look at the startup process and see how that works. So maybe we should change the name of that. We'll see. Program. This is not the wrong thing. I need that desktop. Program. So where we load the plugins, which is, where is it? Let's just search for plugin. Message loading plugins, you'll notice that doesn't happen until way on into the process. And at that point, we've already loaded the data even. So that's just not going to work. So in my event types, this just isn't feasible. I can't do an event when when the startup begins. So we're just going to leave startup completed in there. And I'm going to simplify this a little bit. I don't know that there's a whole lot of reason to do all these, startup beginning and completed. And I would have left them in there if it was feasible for me to do that, but it's not. So nobody's asked for that. So I think we'll just whittle this down a little bit. And then shutdown, the trick here is that shutdown completed means everything is gone, and I can't, so it's the same kind of problem. So I think we'll leave this as being called beginning. And then big box startup completed we'll leave in there. And then big box shutdown completed. No, shutdown beginning. And then locked and unlocked. There we go. Switch event name, case stuff. Stuff event args. Oh, args, sure. I get what you're saying. Sure. Yeah, we don't really need that though so much, at least for this. We might at some point down the line, but we might want on initialize for when the plugin loads. Oh yes. On exiting, on exited. The thing is, the whole on exiting and on exited would never be fully called, because by the time the exit is ready, all the plugins are. I don't know. I guess that's less of an issue as the load is. I like the concept of on initialize, but the trick there is startup is going to handle that anyways, because the plugins are only initialized. No, they're not only initialized on startup. They are loaded up sometimes when, when a new theme is loaded up. So that's a good idea. Yeah, plugin loaded and all plugins loaded. All plugins loaded is tricky because it will load up more new plugins when you switch themes. The big thing is having a startup and a blocking shutdown function. Sure. What do you mean by blocking shutdown? Exactly. You mean don't shut down until after all the code in the function is run? Which is exactly what I plan to do, by the way. On exiting. The chat being behind the stream results in me saying some things you've already determined. Of course, yep. Hey, Vissy. All right, so. Yeah, it's blocking by design. Yeah, exactly. I haven't threaded anything right now. The only thing that is threaded, actually, there is some stuff that's threaded in the data manager saving and loading, but that's just, But these are those aren't events, really. They're just methods that you can call. And I'm out of coffee. Sad day. All right. So we wanted to tweak this a little bit, maybe. Startup completed. Yeah, I'm going to leave those just like they are. And then we're going to add a public constant string plugin initialized. But that's for this plugin. So that's still relevant. That still works, I think. I got to think how that. Yeah, I think we'll be able to do that. And then public constant string all plugins initialized. But the trick with that one is that that's a lie, because you can't. So instead of using all plugins initialized, what you would use is startup completed, because by the time startup is completed, then all the plugins are guaranteed to have been initialized. So I'm going to leave that one out, and we're just going to do plugin initialized for this particular plugin. That has to be, the best idea here. All startup plugins initialized, sure. Oh, you're bad, Camel. Cool. All right. So this is a good start. I'm happy with this. So we'll start implementing these. So the first one we need is LaunchBox startup completed. And we're going to do that. That's actually going to happen when in the main form, because the main form is sort of a, significant part of the startup process. And we have a method called an event called onShown. Main form shown. And so at the very end of this, we're going to call that event. And we need to, before I can do this though, I have to put in my triggers to allow access to the system events stuff. So, and get all the plugins. So in my root class under LaunchBox, we're going to add another new concurrent dictionary in here of string I system events plugin, system events plugins. Okay, and then we just have to populate them. When we do that, something like load plugins. Yep. And all I need to say is root.loadPlugins assemblies. No. Assemblies. Reference root.system events plugins. Okay. The other thing I wanted to do was perhaps change this to load things inside of folders inside of the but it's just right here, so that's easy to do. Start at DLL, search option.all directories, and then it'll search in all subfolders, which is good. That's what we want. All right. So now we have the plugins available everywhere, and this will happen in both LaunchBox and BigBox. The load plugins method is called. And actually in this code is where we would want to put our initialize. So we should probably do that. And it would happen we create the instance right here. So once the instance is created and we've added it to our collection, we need to check to see if the instance is that iSystem events. So var system events plugin equals instance as iSystem events plugin. If system events plugin is not equal to null, in other words, the plugin that we're loading is an iSystem events plugin, then we'll say system events plugin dot on event raised event type. No, event types maybe. Now what is it? Plugins. Data. Event type. In plugins.data. I must not have that class referenced or that namespace referenced. I'm surprised it's not finding it for me though. Event type. There it is. Event type dot plugin initialized. Okay, so fine, we can simplify this a little bit with null propagation. There it is. That works. So that's one done. Cool, Neil. Yeah, about the synchronous is good. That makes sense. You two would burn on a syncom session. What is a syncom session? We have a battle going on between Twitch and YouTube right now. Synchronous communication. Okay, I get what synchronous communication means, but I still don't follow. Because isn't like everyday conversation synchronous communication? Oh, the communication's a bit out of sync, so it complicates sharing ideas a bit. I get it. I get what you mean now. Thank you. I'm sorry. I didn't follow that at all. Okay, so we have this event for plugin initialize done. And you know what I'm going to do? As I get them implemented, I'm going to document them so I can track what ones are implemented. And this is... where is it? Where is it? Event type. So plugin initialized, and I'm going to go ahead and add documentation for this one as well. I'm just going to say this class provides all of the event types that are fired in the iSystem events plugins cref equals iSystem events plugin dot what's the problem here? Come on. That on event raised. This class provides all the types that are fired in the iSystem, all the event types. This class provides all the event types that are fired in the iSystem events plugins on event raised method. Sure. Good enough, I think. This event type is raised immediately after a particular plugin is loaded. After this specific plugin is loaded. Yeah, Twitch is faster with that stuff. All right, so we got one done. Next, we need to do, let's just do simple LaunchBox startup. That's what we were working on, and I got pulled away from it because I had to actually build the code to actually make the plugin work. So LaunchBox startup completed. It's going to happen in shown right here. I think that's where we're at. Yep. And we need to simply say for each var plugin in root dot system events plugins dot values plugin dot on event raised event type dot LaunchBox startup completed. There we go. Okay, and that will handle that one, so we can go document that one. Event type. This event type is raised once LaunchBox has completely finished loading and the window and the main window is shown. One thing that I'm curious about though, do we have any show dialogue stuff in here? Because if we do, then this isn't going to fire until those dialogues are closed, which is not good. So we need to move this. But yes, the add games form shows via a dialogue, and so does the welcome screen. So basically I need to move this up before that. Let's do a quick search in this method for show, and that's the looks like that's the first one. Yeah. So basically I just need to move this up before those calls. Otherwise, you know, it's gonna be bad. All right. So that one is done. Let's move on to the next one. The next one is, you know what, we should probably change this to system event type. And I kind of want to call it system event types, because that's just too generic. Hopefully that updates my documentation and everything. We'll see. Yes. Okay. LaunchBox shutdown beginning. So that is as well going to be in the main form, because it's all based on, you know, the main form class And we have, what's it called? There's form closing is the beginning of it. But I'm not sure if there's a cancel in here. There is. Okay. Let's search this particular method for cancel. We set it to true here, and we don't allow it to exit in that case. Okay. And that's the only case where we don't allow it to exit from what I can tell. So we're doing a bunch of stuff here. And I think at this point we can guarantee that we are exiting. That's the only thing that matters. Is once we can guarantee that we are shutting down and we are exiting, then I can fire that method. And I do believe we're at that place here. So right here was I can do it. I can do it right before we start shutting everything down. So what we can say is for each var plugin in root dot system events plugins dot values plugin dot on event raised system event types dot LaunchBox shutdown beginning. And that's perfect because this really is the beginning of the shutdown. Awesome. Catching up on comments here. Take it easy, D. Thank you. How long would the stream be if we just showed the coding? It wouldn't be any shorter, but we'd get a lot more coding in there, wouldn't we? That's okay. How am I with backing up my project? I have my projects backed up to high heaven. I back up everything 10 times over. No, not 10 times over, but yeah, it probably is 10 times over if you think about it. I have everything backed up to Dropbox. I have everything back, all the code is backed up on Bitbucket. I have every file on my hard drive backed up to CrashPlan. I have everything synced between every computer I own. I have things, the source code control basically backs up every version of the code that's ever existed. Dropbox backs up every version of the code that's ever existed. It is, my backup system is, I would bet I have the strongest backup system anybody's ever seen, frankly. And that is because I've had some scares, but I haven't lost any data since college because I'm so anal retentive about my backup system. It's immensely important to me. You need popcorn for these streams. Just out of my amazement, how much time went into everything, into LaunchBox and Big Box? It's impossible for me to say. So this project started over 3 years ago. I think it's almost 4 years ago now. And for a long time, it was everything I did nights and weekends when I wasn't with my family. I would, basically my family would all go to sleep around 9, and I'd hang out with my wife for an hour, sometimes 2 hours, and then however much time I had left, I would work until 1:30 in the morning. So I'd get a couple hours of work in a night every single day while I was working a full-time job, and that went on for a couple of years. Literally, like, not every single night. I mean, I'd play video games every once in a while, but pretty close to friggin' every single night back there for a while. So I mean, the amount of time, and we're talking years of doing that, the amount of time that I've put into this stuff is dramatic, to say the least. I'm not going to do the math, but it's kind of amazing. It really is. And then, of course, since I've been doing it for a full time for a while, you can imagine how much that is adding up as well. A backup to the backup to the backup. No, the stream isn't over yet. We're still going. I've given EXO everything he needs for the ExoDOS stuff. We went through and we figured out that we don't really need to make any changes to LaunchBox or BigBox for that stuff, at least for V1. So we do have some changes in mind, but EXO's happy. So you won't see any direct changes coming from me, is what I'm trying to say. But I've worked with him and described everything, and come up with and together we came up with a good migration solution for him. So he is basically ready to go. He's working through and providing all that stuff. So we're in good shape with that. But you won't see anything further from me immediately here. The next thing that should happen, I think EXO will be coming out with the next version of the collection. So that's very exciting. Okay, so we handled form closing. The next thing to do is put in the comment on this guy. This event type is raised when LaunchBox begins to shut down /exit. There we go. We got 4 more. These should be pretty easy at this point. Big box startup completed. Let's go into, that is going to be in app, I believe. This one's a little trickier because I don't really have an event that fires. It's probably, the best place to put it is probably in main view model, because the main view model is going to be loaded when the initial screen is shown. I think that's probably the best place to put it. Unloaded. What is... Ooh, perfect. That's exactly what I want. So unloaded is called default view. Okay. And unloaded we set, so we load up the default view. What is this doing here? Huh. Pre-process input. Enable mouse, released. I don't remember why I added that, to be completely honest with you guys. We close the splash screen. We check for updates at this point. Okay, and that's a threaded method. And then I sleep for 5 seconds in a thread. And I initialize the background music. Interesting, okay. And check for updates uses a thread for that stuff. So I can go ahead and put this all after it. So we can go for each var plugin in root.system events plugins plugin.on event oh, dot values here. On event raised. And we're going to say system event types dot big box startup completed. Okay. Another one done. Go back here. This event type is raised once big box has completely finished loading and the interface, I don't want to say window, is shown. There we go. And then shutdown beginning. This is actually a little bit trickier for big box because there might be a couple different places where big box exits. For the most part, I have tried to do it all with the menu action here. The on exit or exit menu action. So, but I think there's a couple other places, so we need to be careful to cover all of them. And I think we're doing application.current.shutdown. I'm going to search for shutdown. There might also be an environment.exit in there somewhere. No, not the entire solution. I want the current project. System view model. Yeah, of course, we got that. That's shutting down the computer. And that's it, apparently. So yes, I did make that only happen there. However, I think on updates we have something else. Environment.exit. Yes. What is this? This is the app constructor. Interesting. It must be in an event or something. Oh, this is where this is the add games first. Basically, we haven't loaded up the interface yet, and if there are no games in your collection, Big Box is just going to be like, what do I do? So we tell the user to add games first before starting up Big Box. Do we need to fire events for that? I don't know, because no events are going to fire. I'm not going to worry about that. What else do we have? That's it. There's something else somewhere. There has to be. Maybe not though. Maybe I do handle it all with this. I'm not sure Stifilus at this point about re-downloading it. The YouTube stream at 2 times speed. That is really cool that you can do that with YouTube. I love that. Hey Blades, we're working on adding more plugin hooks. Doing this with no glasses. No, I have to admit it bugs me, guys. I don't mind like wearing glasses. That doesn't bug me, but it bugs me when I go back and I watch streams and the glare on my glasses drives me nuts because it just looks stupid and I don't like it. So like honestly I love the way I look in my glasses, but that doesn't bother me. It's just the glare that bothers me. And I'm going to go to the eye doctor again and get some eventually. I'm not sure when. Going to the eye doctor is not fun, so I'm not too eager to do it. But I'm gonna try and get some anti-glare glasses. Doing a live advertisement stream. read. Today's episode of the LaunchBox Development live stream is brought to you by... In part. I gotta have the in part. Is brought to you in part by... Depends. Yeah, we're already seeing some amazing stuff coming out, Blades. It's awesome. I think part of the news for this week, a big part of the news is just going to go over the plugins that are already available. Because there's going to be a lot of them. Need to have a very slight rose tint. Interesting. Interesting. I don't know how I feel about a rose tint, though. I don't know. I don't know if I'm secure enough in my manhood to wear rose-tinted glasses. Works wonders for eye strain for PC use. Interesting. There is already a section there that's called plugins and stuff that's been around for a long time. So what I think I'm going to do is people can upload. Gorilla already uploaded his stuff there, which is awesome. So we'll definitely do that. And what I can do, like I did last time, is if we decide that we want to divide it up into some additional categories, I can go through them and move them around relatively easily. The forums are really pretty great with that. Well, that's a personal issue then. I have a lot of personal issues, Camel. I really do. All right. I know I'm missing something here, but I'm going to go ahead and do this here because we obviously need it in this spot. So I'm going to say for each var plugin in root.systemEventsPlugins.values plugin.onEventRaised system event types dot big box shutdown beginning. Okay. I'm going to copy this because we're going to need this somewhere else too, I think. I still have to find it. How else are we shutting down? What are we doing? Because I know there's application.current.shutdown, environment.exit. This isn't Windows Forms. I searched for shutdown. I searched for environment.exit. What the heck else is there? Maybe I got rid of all those extra ones. I'm not sure, but I thought it was in the updater. So let's go take a look at the updater. In the startup, in the main view model, I'm getting hungry, guys, for some reason this morning. Main view model, we have onloaded. It's right here. And we go and we fire off the check updates. Okay, this is the beginnings of it for Big Box. Background update downloads. Show the pop-up. Update view model. And then on enter, exit menu action. Look at that. I switched it up, I guess. That's good. Okay, I'm convinced now that this is the only spot where we need it, so that's good. We're going to go ahead and go back to our event types. I lost it here apparently. Oh, that's not the right one. Yeah, it is. System event types. There it is. Okay. And we're going to comment, put in the summary for Big Box Shutdown Beginning. which is this event type is raised once, is raised when big box begins to shut down / exit. Okay, then we have locked and unlocked, which should be fairly simple. And then we've got them all implemented for that plugin, which is awesome. Gunners are cooler? What are gunners? Tiny blue tint also works. There you go. I could go for that. Yeah, agreed. Well, there's also the downloads. The downloads, yeah, I'm still torn because we got to do the security stuff yet. We got to figure that out. And really, I should figure that out this week because I need to get that stuff narrowed down. Clip-ons that had a tint. I'm not going to read that one, Neil 9000. Template for releases, version and descriptions for each version. Sure. Yeah, and that's kind of handled in the downloads already. But the forums are kind of different. I should eat. I got about 45 minutes left, guys. An intermission. There you go. Five calls at 3 times speed. Wow, that's crazy. Plugins strike back. Awesome. Gunners are gaming glasses. Okay. I gotta look that up. Blue blocking mode. Yeah. The overview is getting lost quite a bit. Huh. I don't quite know what you mean by overview is getting lost. Moose. Only allowing automatic downloads of audited plugins. Of course, yeah, and that's definitely not something we're going to tackle without that. No, don't worry about it, guys. I can handle 45 minutes. No big deal. I can't eat protein bars. I don't know. Oh, releases, updates, discussions. Sure. Yeah, we'll look into that. That makes some sense. I've got to, figure all that stuff out. Basically, we're just using what was already there right now. Heavy stigmatism. Sure. I do have stigmatism, yes. I've always had stigmatism since I was a kid. Although it's not severe, horribly bad, it is bad enough to matter. No more of those starbursts. Okay, so big box locked and unlocked. We are going to do that in... Do we have a lock menu action? Or unlock menu action? Probably not. It's probably in main view model, lock. Clear pin, set pin done, repeat pin. Unlock. There's got to be, come on, it's in here somewhere. Where is it? Apparently it's not in main view model. Oh, it's app. That's where it is. App.locked tells me whether it is locked. Come on now. Where is lock and unlock? This is on startup. I'm not sure that we should fire it off on startup. Lock, unlock. Okay, in system view model, apparently. All right. Let me clean this up a little bit. And in theory, this should be the only place where we actually perform the lock or the unlock. If app.locked, we're invoking it on the UI thread. But this is not where we actually unlock it. So it's a little complicated here. Set app.locked equals true right here, and then build the menu items. And so at this point we can say for each var plugin in root.systemEventsPlugins.values plugin.onEventRaised event system event types dot big box locked, because we just locked it in this case. Then we have this case right here, but we're showing the pop-up. And unlock pin done is called, and that's where we need to set it to be unlocked, I believe, when you successfully enter your pin. We say app.locked equals false. Oh man, I'm showing my encryption keys for the lock that's stored in. I really ought to be careful with that. I mean, it's just the lock. But I should be storing this somewhere else than in the code, honestly. I just realized that. So like basically the security issue we're having right now is if you have a lock in your saved in your XML file, you now know the security keys that can be used to decrypt them in your file, so somebody could get access to your big box lock code based on looking at this code. So not really a big security issue, but if you're worried about your local big box being unlocked, you know, somebody has the code now to decrypt that. But big deal. It's just your big box lock code. All right, so app.locked equals false. Build menu items for each var plugin in root dot system events plugins dot values plugin dot on event raised system event types dot big box unlocked. Okay, and then if we go back, set pin done is where we set the pin. And lock it, I think that will lock it as well. And we repeat the pin, okay, and then repeat pin done. And we encrypt the lock code the same way as we decrypted it. And we set app.locked equals true. And for each var plugin in root dot system events plugins dot values plugin dot on event raised system event types dot big box locked. Here we are. And I think we finally handled locked and unlocked there. So. Yeah. Trevo. He just gave away my big box lock code and then explained how you can use it to steal it. Pretty much. Sorry, guys. You know what? I promise you guys. I'm going to go change it. For the next version. But no, I can't do that because that would break everybody's lock codes. Well, I guess sorry. I gave away all your security. Shepherd's pie for me. Yes. I could go for some shepherd's pie. Bleed from my hands. What is that coming from? Oh, optical effect called starburst. Sure. Coronas, yeah. If you don't have an accessor yet for the locked flag, you should add that to the plugin helper. Exactly, I should. That's a really good point, Neil K. And I can, without too much effort here. Trevo, keep up the good work. I bought Premium today because I love that you are willing to stream your coding. I also had issues with mine and two of the mods on Discord. Spent about 2 hours yesterday helping me fix it because my EMU BIOS and ROMs were all bad. Awesome, Trevo. Thank you so much. We're glad to have you in the community now and on the streams. Welcome to the fold. There you go. It's a farming term. I've heard that before. Not a farmer, but... If they have access to the machine, can't they also just delete the lock code from the config file? Yes, they absolutely can. So that is a non-issue, Neil K. But the issue is... So yeah, you got to guard access to your files. The thing is, though, people are going to use their banking pins... in their configs, so you're basically, guys, you're already screwed if somebody has access to your files. That's not a good thing. You got to protect your files so that people can't get access to the files on your machine. All right. But the thing is, I don't want to put a pin number in clear text in configuration files, especially since people are going to be using their pin numbers. You know what I mean? For their bank account and all the other stuff. Their debit cards. So for that reason, I had to encrypt it. That's what I'm more concerned about than people actually being able to see what the code is. You know what I mean? It really is, guys, like a non-issue though. I mean, it's not a true security issue here. You guys don't need to worry about it, to be completely honest with you. Visi, off topic, with a background download of a new version of LaunchBox, is it possible to still have a progress bar like you would have when you have to wait for the download? Sure. I thought about that. And basically that'll be, I kind of wanted to add that in, but I didn't want to put that tremendous amount of effort in there all at the same time because, I like to get stuff going and get it out. So when we can come back to a version 2 of that background update downloads. I'm happy with it the way it is right now, but I do recognize it could be improved. And I thought about that at the time, but I didn't want to put in all that extra effort at the time to get it done. So then have an icon appear maybe next to the search box and launch box, progress bar, and the drop down. Yeah, that's a great idea. You have no idea how far the update is when you do it in the background. Yeah, I get you, Visi, and I actually thought about all that stuff during development, but just didn't want to add a bunch of extra development time for that particular feature, because I wanted to get it out. Camel. Oh, man. That reminds me of when I was a kid. And I'm not proud of this because my dad was so disappointed in me when I did this. But when I was a kid, pretty much anytime there was a password in Windows, it was a starred out password in one of those typical starred out password fields in Windows like 95, 3.1, 98, whatever. They always did it this way, a starred out password field. And there was a security issue where you could use a little hacking app to go and steal a password from those password boxes. Pretty much, it was easy. It was not. I mean, it was. I felt cool because I was hacking doing it, but it was not anything that impressive. And my dad had told me, I actually had an internet dial-up internet line in my room, plugged into my computer so that I could check email. But we used Juno, that wouldn't let you use actual internet access. So I had access to email on my computer in my room, but I did not have access to anything else. And I had gone back and forth, figured it all out on my own. This was pretty early on. I think I might have been a freshman in high school at this point. And I went in and I stole my dad's password to his internet account. And I got it on my computer. And I had internet on my computer for a good 3 or 4 months. Now that back then, when you were on the internet, you were using up the internet line, of course, the dial-up line. And so I was taking huge risks because if ever he called the house and wondered why it was busy, I would, I would have gotten in trouble. And that's exactly what happened eventually. He called the house, wondered why the internet line was busy for an hour, 2 hours, or wondered why the phone line was busy for an hour, 2 hours, and actually came home from work to figure out what was going on. And I had to confess that I had manipulated him, stolen his password, just so that I could have internet on my computer in my room. Now, granted, my dad let me use the internet whenever I wanted on his computer. So it was only so that I could have the internet in my room that I did this. And I felt pretty shameful at that point. I really did. I did not feel good when I was a 15-year-old kid, So, but man, yeah, I was a little hacker back then. I really was. The other thing I did that I'm not so proud of was I would get on ICQ, and I had a little program that never really did any major damage, or I never really did any major damage to anybody's computer. But what I would do is I would get on ICQ, and I would send them, back in the day, people were stupid beyond belief, and nobody had any worries about security. So I would send them an exe file that looked like an image, and people would run that exe file. And once they ran that exe file, I could do crazy things like randomly open up their CD drive. And so what I would do is I would screw with people. Oh, I would screw with people so bad. I would make them go insane because I would open up their CD drive and close their CD drive randomly, just completely randomly. I would take control of their computer and like move the mouse just every so often, like completely freak them out. And that program would have allowed me to delete files and everything, but I promise I never did anything that malicious. But man, oh my goodness. I did that with a friend of mine, and I really shouldn't have been doing that stuff, but I was a young kid and I was too stupid to know better. But yeah, I was a little jerk, man. I really was. Ugh. I don't know how I got into that. That was a tangent, but there you go. There's a story from my childhood, everybody. Don't use your bank PIN. Exactly. Please don't use your bank PIN. Good deal, Trevo. 1111 is my password for everything. Thank you, Keltoy. I kind of doubt you're telling the truth, or at least I hope you're not telling the truth. More tuna. Is there any more tuna? I love that. I love that a lot. Is there any way to speed up the scrape process? Not really, unfortunately. What I do recommend is if you're importing a new collection of games, don't download anything on the initial import, and then overnight you can go fill in all the media. Yeah, if there is an update, would be a big help. I agree with that. That's one thing I've thought about. Downloading update and update ready and that stuff. Yeah, and that would be a lot easier, and that's definitely worth doing. So we'll probably do that here soon. Did you guys know that Alt F4 turns on gaming mode in Windows? Are you making a joke, Keltoy? You must be. Yes, I hacked my dad. I did hack my dad. Speed up the scrape process today? Not really. I don't know of a way to do that. I mean, yeah, there's no way to speed that up. Love the side stories. Thank you, Dave. It's funny that you say that because you've been jokingly all about getting back into the code constantly on this stream. Yeah, it was something like that, Neil K. And I don't remember what the app was. It was meant for pranking. It was not like a true awful virus app or anything. It was literally meant for pranking. And when you loaded up the app, it said something like, "Please do not cause any serious damage with this app." And there was a big disclaimer and everything. Well, it's just a joke because you know people were doing it. But it was just a stupid little app that could be used to really, really, really mess with people. Nowadays, I could get jail time for that. Yeah. And, it's kind of scary because that's not the only thing I did as a kid that could have put me in jail. But I'm not going to get into that stuff with you guys, okay? I'm not going to get into that stuff. Meanwhile, you spent your time growing up destroying people's pitiful attempts to hack at people on forums. That's pretty, what's the word I'm going for? Respectable, except that's not the word. Commendable is the word I'm looking for. How many games do I have in my LaunchBox? I think about 14K, something like that. Why would you want a pin on Big Box? For me, the reason why I use a pin on Big Box is so that my kids can't come in and screw something up. I still have a 4-year-old, so she loves to experiment, and she would go in and end up doing something bad, at some point. Favoriting a bunch of games that shouldn't be favorited, stuff like that. Thank you, Moo. Have a good one. Sounds like the code an idiot would have on his luggage. The metadata update still needs a slight adjustment to stop angering you. All right, explain, Neil. Interesting, Flades. I wasn't aware of that. Hey, Nicolaj. Thank you, Gene. There will be a version to put inside arcade machines standalone. There already is. However, you are going to need Windows, of course. And, it already works really well with arcade machines. The only piece is getting it to start up automatically on startup. And there's a million threads on the forums about that. Also, ETA Prime just messaged me, and I think he's got a video as far as getting it to start up on startup. There is a tutorial video coming on that. You can get jail time today for guessing a URL. Ugh. Somebody used to make a folder called C. Oh man, I've admitted the awful stuff that I used to do at Walmart to you guys before on stream. I'm not going to get into that again, but yes, yeah. And today, honestly, I could have gone to jail for that. I'm sure if I did the same thing today that I did in Walmart when I was a kid, yeah, not good. Just causing a bunch of unnecessary work for the poor workers at Walmart that they had no idea how to do. The startup videos for Big Box, I'm not sure, Ian. It'll be a while yet. It'll be weeks yet because it was on the poll and it was voted, but it wasn't voted top priority. So we got a lot to do before we get there. Wow, that's insane. Your brother got hired when he hacked into the data of a company's program. No kidding. That is interesting. Huh. UFC displays and even ATM one time at Windows desktop, and so I had to play around with it. Oh man, I've seen that too. I've seen blue screens of death. Is what I've seen all over the place on ATMs and stuff. All right, so where are we at? We added the last piece of this system menu item plugin stuff, but I need to put in comments for these. This event type is raised when big box is locked. And then this event type is raised when big box is unlocked. Okay? And from there, the next thing Neil K mentioned this. John Klein mentioned this when we that we should add a way to get at that information, and I agree we should. And what we can do is I need my plugin class. In the plugin helper class, you can get access to the data manager, but this is going to be tricky. You know what we can do though? Yeah, the easiest way to handle this is a static class. So the thing is, like, I can add a property and set it, but then I can't prevent people from setting that property. And since I have to, I can't like make it anything other than a public accessor. So that's not perfect. I don't like that, but it works. Public static bool big box is big box locked. Get. But I don't know what to do about this, guys. I really don't. I can use an interface, but then I have to implement it, create a whole class and all that stuff. Both work for them using the data to create an online reporting service. Interesting. Embedded Windows. Yep. Yeah, they were using Windows XP on ATMs. Like every single ATM for a long time was using Windows XP. I remember that because there were date security issues. I mean, date issues that were causing all kinds of problems because it wasn't date issues. I don't know what it was. I don't remember, but there was some kind of issue at some point. They would reboot mid-transactions to install updates to Windows 10. The POSIX support, sure. The Navy still gets Windows XP updates due to a contract with MS. Wow. Ah. All right. Yeah, let's be sensitive to that though, guys. Please, let's be sensitive to when people get offended from that stuff. It is a pretty offensive word. I'll side with Trevor on that. I honestly, growing up, I used that word a ton, but I have stopped using that word, the R word. It's not because, yeah, it's a problem. And I'm the first guy to say, screw it. Screw it. Use it because it's funny. That is me. It really is. But that is one word that I have stopped using at this point. McTurbo, Jason's already worked on the startup, and that should feature in the next update. No, I haven't worked on the startup videos to change them in this beta. But the startup stuff, I have done some stuff for plugins. But I don't think that's what he was referring to, Ian. But thank you, McTurbo. Okay. So, I was trying to get this big box lock stuff going. And I don't know if Neil K is still here. Maybe you can help me out. Is Big Box locked? The problem is we don't want the plugins to be able to set is Big Box locked, but I have to be able to set it. And I can't use a specific accessor because it has to be public because it has to be referenced by the other projects. So it has to be public. I got to have a public setter. If I do the whole locked thing. The only other thing I could do is put it on the data manager or in the data manager. Add a method to check whether Big Box is locked. That's probably a better approach, although it's buried deeper and it's hard to find in that sense. The only other thing I could do beyond that is to add a state manager. I like that. So we add something called state manager, and we do it the same way we do data manager. That's my only other idea. Hey, Nosh. Welcome, man. Good to have you here. I know who you are. Welcome. Anyway, we could get a way to add movies. That's already there. You can already do that manually if you want to. Although, you're not going to be able to scrape media and stuff for it currently. But I think you're probably going to see something like that happen in the way of plugins here very soon, because now that we've opened this up, I think some people are going to be passionate about that, enough about that to get that to happen, which is pretty exciting. State manager makes more sense. Okay, Neil, yeah, I'm with you. You can put all sorts of stuff in there, exactly. Sorry, Trevor. I love that username too. Yeah, you know what? I do too. Absolutely. That is like the perfect. You know, honestly, I don't even know. I should be careful because I don't know if there's any real meaning behind it. I just love the way Nosh sounds. Yeah, I'm sorry about the phone, guys. I've got a friend talking to me. State manager is probably also where you'd put some of my other requests like forced navigation. Sure. There is. I remember that now. Yeah, there's a Java-based app that scrapes movies into LaunchBox. Sweet, that's awesome, Nosh. Yeah, that should be fun. I am aware how rare of an occurrence that is. Oh, I am aware of that. Nosh is informal for food. Oh, okay. Oh, see, I knew there had to be something. There had to be a way you could interpret that poorly. I knew there had to be something. All right. So what we're gonna do, and I don't know that I'm gonna get this done in before we end the stream here, honestly, guys. So I don't know that I'm gonna go ahead and get it started, but I need to add a state manager just like I have the data manager, and the state manager would do things like app.locked and all that kind of stuff, and it would tell you at any point from anywhere, what view is located and is shown currently in Big Box, and stuff like that for LaunchBox. So that's my plan there. But let's talk about what we got going next. What I want to do for the rest of the day is I'm gonna take a break from working on documentation. Is there's still like a whole bunch of stuff I got to document, and I hate doing it. It takes forever. But I got to go through all these data classes and add in all this missing documentation, and that's important because people need to know what all this stuff does, and that's taken forever. I really hate doing it. So it's hard. It's harder for me to be productive on that stuff because I just hate just writing documentation. It's not coding for me, so it drives me nuts. But I am going to keep working on that. But this afternoon, what I'm going to do is I'm going to go through more of Neil K's, if I can find it over here, Neil K's stuff, and see if I can figure out exactly what I can build sooner rather than later, and keep working on that kind of stuff. And I do really need to get a beta out before the end of the day, so I hope I can do that. We'll see, though. I'm not sure. I'm not sure if I even want to read these comments right now, guys. I don't know. How can you gift a big box account to someone? John, admittedly, I'm sorry, but we don't have a good automatic way to do that. But what you can do is you can buy a big box license, okay? And then after you buy the license, just email us at support@unbrokensoftware.com or use the contact form on the forums, whatever, and we can change the name and the email on it to go to your friend instead. So thank you for that, by the way. Yeah, just buy it and email us, and we will go ahead and change it up so that you can, get it gifted to somebody else. Main menu would be great for global. Main menu. You guys could probably keep the chat a little bit more clean. That might be a good idea. I'm just saying. Thank you, John. You're clean as my dirty. In the Neil K list. Okay, sure. Well, I will be studying that list, Dave. So that makes sense. Okay, guys. I think it is about that time. It's been a really fun stream this morning. Heathens! Yes! But yeah. Good day, guys. It's been fun. It's been awesome. I'll see you guys on Monday. I'll be having a beta out here, mainly with just plugin stuff that I'm going to be focusing on. I have a few bugs to fix. Hopefully, if not today, tomorrow I'll have that beta out. And I'm going to be adding as many of these plugin features as we can fit in. So thank you guys so much. Thanks for being so much fun. And I'll see you guys on Monday.